Most people will drift through the next 90 days, the same way they drifted through the last, waiting, hoping, wondering when things will change. But things don't change just because the calendar flips. They change because you decide they must. The next 90 days won't be handed to you wrapped in motivation. They will challenge you. They will test your intentions, and they will expose whether you're serious about turning your life around or just talking about it. The truth is, most won't commit, not fully, not with the fire it takes. But if you do, if you stop waiting for permission and start owning your direction, the next 90 days can become the foundation of a whole new future. You don't need more time. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a decision, a firm one. A decision to raise your standard and do what needs to be done every day, without debate. People underestimate what 90 days of focused effort can do. They underestimate how far they could go if they stopped letting emotions decide their effort. But I've seen it. I've lived it. You take 90 days and you lock into your purpose, you focus your energy, and you protect your mind, and you will be shocked at the changes that begin to happen. You will walk differently. You will speak with conviction. Because progress changes people. Discipline builds confidence. And action is the only proof of belief. You want to shift your life? You want more results, more strength, more clarity. Then you need to stop being casual about your time. The clock is running whether you're ready or not. The days don't wait. The world doesn't slow down until you get your act together. So you've got to move now, with urgency, with purpose. Start with how you wake up. Win the first hour and you build momentum for the rest of the day. Don't let your phone control you. Don't let distractions dictate your mood. Wake up and decide who you're going to be, not just what you're going to do. Because success starts in the mind before it ever shows up in your life. And this is where most people fall short. They want to change their circumstances, but they keep the same mindset. They talk about big dreams, but live with small habits. You can't think average and live extraordinary. You can't keep old routines and expect new results. Change starts with awareness. You need to become hyper-aware of how you think, how you talk to yourself, what you feed your mind. For 90 days, protect your thoughts, like your life depends on it, because it does. Your beliefs shape your behavior. Your behavior shapes your results, and the wrong beliefs will trap you in cycles you don't even realize you're stuck in. So ask yourself, what are you feeding your mind every day? Are you listening to people who complain, blame, and distract themselves from growth? Or are you surrounding yourself with words, lessons, and voices that lift your standards? Don't just go through the day. Grow through it. Choose input that strengthens you. Read what sharpens your thinking. Listen to messages that fuel your ambition. Speak words that affirm the life you're building. This isn't about pretending everything's perfect. This is about taking full responsibility for what you allow into your mental space. Because once your mind changes, everything changes. Now let's talk about clarity. You can't hit a target you haven't defined. The next 90 days need to be lived with clear direction. What do you want? Be specific. Be honest. Most people avoid clarity because it creates pressure, but that pressure is what forces action. That pressure is where discipline is born. Define your vision. Write it down. Read it every morning. Let it shape your priorities. Because when you know what matters, distractions lose their power. When you have a vision, you stop wasting your energy on things that don't align with it. You begin to live by intention, not impulse. You don't need 1,000 goals. You need a few clear ones that actually mean something to you. Goals that light a fire in you. Goals that stretch you. Scare you a little, but excite you a lot. Focus on progress, not perfection. You're not supposed to have everything figured out, but you are supposed to show up with intensity, with commitment, with a mindset that says, I will not let this time pass without progress. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your systems. So build systems that hold you accountable. Track your habits. Keep a scoreboard. Know where you're winning and where you need to tighten up. Don't leave it to memory. Put it in writing. See it. Measure it. Improve it. And when the emotions come, because they will, remember this: you are not your feelings. You are what you do despite your feelings. Discipline isn't about feeling like it. It's about doing it anyway. The next 90 days are going to test you. Some mornings you won't want to move. Some evenings you'll feel like giving up. But that's the moment where your new life is being built. Right there when no one's watching, when it's not easy, when you're tired and discouraged, that's when you separate yourself. That's when you prove to yourself that you are not going to be the same. You want real confidence. Earn it. Stack days where you followed through. Build evidence that you are reliable, that you do what you say, that you show up regardless of how you feel. That's where self-respect is born. You can't fake it. You have to earn it. In private, with consistency, with effort. And when you start earning it, you'll feel it. You'll walk with more certainty. You'll speak with more power. Not because someone told you you're great, but because you know you're doing the work. That's the difference between pretending and becoming. One is cheap, the other is life-changing. And in the middle of it all, don't forget your reason. Why are you doing this? What are you building? Who are you becoming? Purpose is what makes discipline worth it. Purpose is what makes the hard days meaningful. If you're only doing it for applause, you'll quit when no one's clapping. If you're only doing it for comfort, you'll give up when it gets hard. But if you're doing it because you believe your life has value, if you're doing it because you refuse to waste the time you've been given, then nothing will stop you. Not failure, not fatigue, not doubt, because people with purpose don't quit. They adjust, they rise, they grow stronger under pressure. So decide today what this next season of your life will look like. Not someday, not next week, today, because these next 90 days could change your story. But only if you do. Only if you commit fully. Only if you stop playing small. You've waited long enough. You've seen what average effort gets. You've lived that cycle. It's time to break it. It's time to raise the bar. Your future deserves more than your excuses. Your goals deserve more than your hesitation. Show yourself what's possible. Build habits you're proud of. Keep promises you've been breaking. Lead yourself, even when no one else is watching. You don't need more motivation. You need a reason. You don't need more chances. You need a standard. You don't need to feel ready. You need to move anyway. Because everything you want is on the other side of daily effort. And the people who get there aren't the lucky ones. They're the consistent ones. The disciplined ones. The ones who show up every day like it matters. Because it does. Your time is now. Not when you feel perfect. Not when it's easy. Now. While it's hard. While it's uncomfortable. While your old habits are still trying to hold on. Break them. Replace them. Build something stronger. This is how you do it. One day at a time. One decision at a time. One action at a time. You wake up and you take control. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop waiting for someone to save you. You become the person who takes full ownership. No shortcuts. No blame. Just daily action rooted in belief. Fueled by purpose. Driven by discipline. If you do this for 90 days, you won't just change your habits. You'll change your identity. You'll start to see yourself differently. You'll become someone who follows through. Someone who doesn't quit. Someone who lives on purpose. Not by default. And when you begin to see yourself differently, everything else begins to shift with it. People will notice it before you even say a word. They'll see it in your posture, in your focus, in the way you carry yourself. Not arrogance, certainty, not noise, presence. That quiet strength that only comes from knowing you've been doing the work, you've been getting up early, you've been doing the reps, you've been sticking to your plan when it would have been easier to fall back. And now the results are starting to show, not just outside, but inside. That's the real transformation. Not just changing what's around you, but changing who you are within you. But let's be clear, the process won't always feel good. It's not supposed to. Growth hurts. Discipline stings. But regret will destroy you. It'll weigh on your mind in the quiet hours when you know you let another day pass. So choose your pain, the pain of effort or the pain of regret. One builds you, the other breaks you. The next 90 days are your chance to prove that you are done choosing comfort over progress. Done letting the past write your future. Done pretending that someday is a strategy. You've got today. That's enough. That's always been enough. when you take it seriously. So what do you actually do with today? You build your system. You create your rhythm. You wake up at the same time. You train your body. You train your mind. You eat with discipline. You speak with integrity. You move with intent. You eliminate noise. You keep your promises, especially the ones you make to yourself. You don't explain yourself to people who aren't building what you're building. You don't seek validation from people who aren't doing what you're doing. You stay locked in. You stay focused, because the distractions will come. The doubts will whisper. The temptations will knock. But none of that matters if you know where you're going. And where you're going is not random. It's chosen on purpose, with clarity, with drive, with relentless follow-through. You don't rise by accident. You rise by choice. And every day, those choices either take you closer or pull you further away. So protect your time, protect your energy, protect your focus. Get selfish about your growth. Not in a way that shuts people out, but in a way that says, I value my life enough to stop wasting it. That's not selfish. That's responsibility. That's what grown men and women do when they realize the clock isn't stopping for anyone. You don't get to replay the next 90 days. You get one shot. So treat it like it matters. Track your progress. Write down your wins. Celebrate the small victories. But don't get comfortable. Stay hungry. Keep your edge sharp. And when setbacks hit, because they will, don't collapse. Don't throw away everything just because one day went sideways. One bad day doesn't undo a month of effort. One missed rep doesn't erase your discipline. Get back up. Get back on track. You are not your worst moment. You are what you choose after that moment. And the strongest people are not the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. This is what separates people. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's not charisma or connections. It's grit. It's consistency. It's that fire in your gut that says, I will not waste my life living beneath my potential. It's waking up and deciding again and again that you're in this for real, not for the attention, not for applause, but because you want to look in the mirror and respect the person looking back, because you want to reach the end of these 90 days knowing you gave it your best, not your leftovers. You want to be able to say, I showed up, I did the work, I didn't make excuses, I didn't coast, I earned this. You know what happens when you live like that? You start to inspire people without even trying. Your energy shifts, your presence changes rooms, not because you're loud, but because you're solid. You've got real momentum now, not talk, action. And action builds belief. It rewires your identity. It upgrades your self-image. And when that happens, the world starts reacting to you differently. Opportunities find you. The right people start showing up. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger, more focused, more aligned, more disciplined. And maybe for the first time in a long time, you start believing that it's actually possible, that your life doesn't have to stay on repeat, that you can build something you're proud of, not 5 years from now, but right now, that you don't need anyone's permission, that you don't need to explain yourself to people who never understood your vision anyway. Because the truth is, the only permission you ever needed was your own. And now you've given it. Now you've decided. Now you've drawn the line in the sand. So when those doubts creep in, and they will, when that little voice says, who do you think you are? You answer it. You say, I'm the one who didn't quit. I'm the one who took full ownership. I'm the one who decided enough was enough. You remind yourself that you didn't come this far to stop halfway. You didn't start this to dabble. You're not playing games. You're here to grow. You're here to build. You're here to win. And that doesn't mean you'll be perfect. Forget perfection. Focus on progress. Just show up. Stay locked in. And when it gets hard, not if, but when, lean into it. Because the resistance is the growth. That struggle, it's shaping you. Those early mornings, they're refining your strength. That fatigue, it's proof that you're in the fight. And that's what this is. A fight. Not against the world. Not against your past. But against your old patterns. Your lazy instincts. Your self-doubt. And every time you win that battle, even a small one, you shift the momentum in your favor. Because the greatest transformation isn't loud. It's not posted. It's not celebrated in real time. It's silent. It's built behind the scenes when nobody's watching. It's built in the moments when you don't feel like showing up. But you do anyway. when you're tired and tempted and stressed. But you keep your word. That's the part nobody claps for. But that's where winners are made, in the quiet hours, in the uncomfortable grind, in the consistent, committed decision to move forward anyway. And you know this by now, it's not about motivation. Motivation fades. It comes and goes. What matters is what you do when the fire isn't burning as bright. Discipline is stronger than motivation. Structure beats emotion. So you put the plan in place, you write it down, you make it visual, you turn your goals into something you see every day, and then you follow it. No matter how you feel, that's how you break through the walls. That's how you train your mind to serve you, not sabotage you. Because your mind will give you every excuse in the book. It's too early, you're too tired. One day off won't matter. You'll start fresh tomorrow. And if you listen to that voice, you lose. Not all at once, little by little, quietly, slowly, until one day you look up and realize the last 90 days were just another blur, another wasted chance, another cycle of trying and stalling and talking big but doing small. You don't want that. You've had enough of that. So now it's war, not with the world, with yourself, with that lazy voice, with that fear, with the comfort that keeps pulling you backward. Because the only way to win the next 90 days is to commit fully, to decide that every day is a chance, not a chore, a blessing, not a burden, that you're not doing this to punish yourself. You're doing this to become yourself. The version of you that's been hiding behind hesitation. The version of you that's sick of hiding, sick of shrinking, sick of delaying your own greatness. You want more. Then do more. Not for attention, not for praise, for you. Because you know what happens when you do this for you. You stop chasing. You stop comparing. You stop needing to prove anything to anyone. You just do the work. You put in the reps. You build the foundation. And before you know it, the results show up. Not because you got lucky, because you got consistent. Not because you made a big splash, but because you kept showing up even when nobody noticed. This is about stacking wins. Small ones. Daily ones. Wake up early. Win. Stick to your plan. Win. Control your impulses. Win. Speak with intention. Win. Don't explain yourself. Win. Avoid distractions. Win. Track your progress. Win. And it adds up, brick by brick, rip by rep, day by day, until you've built something that nobody can take from you, because you earned it. And once you've earned it, you never go back to how it was. You can't. You've seen too much. You've changed too much. You are too much now. And yeah, some people won't get it. They'll say you've changed, and you have. That's the point. You're not supposed to stay the same. You're not supposed to live on repeat. You're not here to keep playing the old character in the same tired story. You're the author now. And these 90 days, they're your rewrite, your plot twist, your breakthrough. If you stay locked in, if you stay ruthless with your time, if you stop trying to please people who don't even respect themselves, let them doubt you, let them roll their eyes, let them mock your discipline. Because while they're distracted, you're building. While they're scrolling, you're stacking wins. While they're waiting for perfect conditions, you're moving forward through the storm. And that's the edge. That's the secret. You don't need perfect. You need real. You need today. You need now. Because 90 days isn't forever. It's not some distant, unreachable goal. It's 3 months, 13 weeks. Just long enough to change your patterns. Just long enough to build real momentum. Just long enough to finally stop starting over. But only if you commit fully, not halfway, not part-time, not when you feel like it. You go all in. You burn the backup plan. You take the distractions off the table. You simplify your life so much that the only thing left to do is grow. Because once you realize how much of your potential has been buried under excuses, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop pretending tomorrow will save you. You get to work right now. You organize your environment. You control your inputs. You clean up your habits. You tell the truth about what you've been avoiding. You face it. You confront it. And then you take the next step anyway. And you don't wait for energy. You create it. You don't wait for clarity. You earn it through action. You don't wait for permission. You give it to yourself. This is your life. Nobody's going to live it for you. Nobody's going to show up and carry you to your goals. If you want it, you better be willing to fight for it. Every day, every choice, every morning when the alarm goes off and you have two options, rise or roll over. You know which one leads to growth. You know which one creates power. So don't hesitate. Don't flinch. Don't wait until you feel ready. Just start. Start with what you have, where you are, right now. And once you do, never stop. Because the next 90 days won't just change what you do. They'll change what you believe about yourself, about what's possible, about what you're truly capable of when you stop playing small. Because once you stop playing small, you start thinking bigger. You start walking differently, speaking differently, holding yourself to a new standard. And that's what this is all about. The standard. Not a goal, not a dream, a standard. Something that doesn't shift based on how you feel or what's going on around you. It becomes who you are. You don't try to be disciplined. You are. You don't hope to be consistent. You live that way. And the people who used to recognize you, they won't anymore. Because you've outgrown the version of you they were comfortable with. That's the hidden cost of growth. Losing what was never meant to stay. The comfort, the validation, the easy way out. It all falls away when you rise. But in its place, you gain something better. Self-respect, inner power, peace. Not the kind you get from avoiding life, but the kind that comes from facing it head on and knowing you didn't flinch. That's real peace. That's the reward. You'll feel it the first time you say no to something that used to control you. The first time you push past the point you used to quit. The first time you realize, I'm not that person anymore. That's the quiet breakthrough. And from that moment on, it's not about effort. It's about identity. You've built it. You've earned it. Now you protect it. But don't think for a second it's going to be easy. It's not. You'll be tempted. You'll be tested. You'll have days when nothing works, when nobody believes in you, when you question the whole thing. But those are the days that count the most. Because if you only show up when it's easy, you'll never get anywhere worth going. You don't grow by avoiding the hard days. You grow by conquering them. So remember why you started. Remember who you used to be. Not to shame yourself, but to remind yourself how far you've come. Remember what you said you wanted when nobody was watching. Because this journey doesn't require perfection. It requires honesty, ownership, the willingness to look at yourself and say, I can do better, and then actually doing better. Every day you have two choices. Feed your old life or feed your future. That's it. Every bite of food, every scroll, every word, every minute, every decision either strengthens your future or keeps you stuck. There's no in between. That's why awareness is so important. You have to see what you're doing, not just float through the day. You have to take back your time, take back your energy, reclaim your mind. You've spent enough of your life on autopilot, enough letting emotions decide your actions, enough putting off your potential for a more convenient time. The time is now, not next year, not next Monday, not when things calm down. Now, because the next 90 days are going to pass either way. The question is, what are you going to have to show for them? And make no mistake, you will be tested. People will misunderstand you. Life will throw distractions your way. Doubt will whisper in your ear. And every time you'll be faced with the same decision, fold or focus, shrink or step up, react or respond. And in those moments, you'll have to remember, this isn't just about getting results. This is about becoming unshakable. The kind of person who doesn't fold under pressure, who doesn't get thrown off course by every little inconvenience, because that's the strength you're building. It's not about hype. It's about power, quiet, controlled, focused power. The kind that doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. The kind that walks into a room and doesn't need to announce itself, because it's obvious. That's what happens when you take the next 90 days seriously. You stop being driven by emotion and start being driven by vision. You stop explaining yourself and start executing. You stop needing approval and start trusting your own standard. You see, once you understand that the gap between who you are and who you want to be is made of choices, You stop blaming and start building. You stop saying someday and start saying today. Because every day you either repeat your patterns or you reinforce your progress. Every single day you make that choice. And the results you get are nothing but a reflection of the choices you've made consistently. So make them count. Make your habits non-negotiable. Make your word unbreakable. Make your future non-optional. Because the truth is, most people never make it past the first 10 days. They get excited, but they don't get committed. They like the idea of change more than the work of change. Don't be most people. Be the exception. Be the one who finishes what they start. Be the one who makes this the season that everything shifted. Because if you can go 90 days, fully locked in, no excuses, no exceptions, it changes your entire relationship with yourself. It changes how you see time, how you see challenge, how you see yourself. You stop being someone who talks about potential, and you become someone who proves it, quietly, relentlessly, day after day, until the results are so obvious. Nobody can deny it. And when that happens, you won't need to say a word. The way you walk, the way you move, the way you carry yourself, it'll speak for you. That's what happens when you win 90 days in a row. That's what happens when you give your full effort without needing immediate validation. You earn confidence the right way, not from people clapping, but from you knowing you've kept your promise to yourself. And that's the kind of confidence nobody can fake. You feel it in your chest, in your voice, in the way you show up when nobody's watching. It's not arrogance, it's certainty, it's clarity. It's the result of keeping your promises to yourself when it would have been easier to break them. And that's where most people fall short. Not because they lack talent, not because they don't have what it takes, but because they've made a habit of negotiating with their goals. Every time you say just this once, you teach your mind that your word is flexible, that your discipline is optional, that your future is for sale. But the next 90 days, they demand something higher. No more discounts, no more gray areas, no more blurred lines between commitment and comfort. You draw the line in the sand and you stay on the right side of it. Because if you don't, nobody else will. And yes, it will get hard. It will feel heavy. You'll have to do things you don't feel like doing. But that's the price of greatness. That's the cost of change. It's supposed to challenge you. If it doesn't, it won't change you. Growth is uncomfortable. Progress is inconvenient. But you know what's worse than discomfort? Regret. The weight of knowing you could have gone all in but didn't. That's a pain that sticks with you, that echoes, that eats at your potential every day you avoid the work. So when you wake up tomorrow, and every day after that, remember that this isn't just about doing tasks. It's about shaping your character, rewiring how you think, replacing your old patterns with new ones that actually serve you. And none of that happens overnight. It's built one decision at a time. One morning, one meal, one choice to stay focused when distractions come knocking. You don't need to win every second of the day. You just need to win more moments than you lose. That's the game. And when you start stacking those moments, momentum kicks in. You move from forcing progress to becoming progress. That's when it gets powerful. When showing up is no longer a fight, it's just who you are. When discipline stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling like freedom, because it is freedom. Freedom from regret. Freedom from the lies you used to tell yourself. Freedom from the cycle of starting and quitting and starting again. There's nothing more powerful than looking in the mirror and seeing someone who follows through no matter what. Not when it's convenient. Always. That's the kind of person who builds a life that actually means something. And let me tell you something. You don't need permission to become that person. You don't need applause. You don't need a perfect start or a clear path. All you need is to decide that the next 90 days are yours, that no matter what happens, you will not fold, you will not fade, you will not water yourself down just to stay comfortable. You're going to rise. You're going to lock in. You're going to make discipline your identity and progress your daily companion. It won't be flashy. It won't be loud. You'll do the work while others are distracted. You'll keep going when others hit snooze. And you'll keep that standard high, even when nobody else is watching, because you are watching. And if you can learn to impress yourself to earn your own respect. You'll stop needing the world's validation altogether. That's what this is about. Ownership, respect, integrity. Not just in front of people, behind closed doors. When it's just you and your habits, just you and your choices, just you and the weight of your own excuses. And that's where you'll either win or lose. Not out there. In here. Inside your own mind. So clean up the chaos. Organize your world. Get clear on what matters. And then pour every ounce of yourself into this. Don't waste another day living below your potential. You've already seen what happens when you hesitate. Now it's time to see what happens when you commit. Not for a day. Not for a week. For 90 days. Straight. No breaks. No shortcuts. Just you, the work, and the results. You'll have to wake up earlier. You'll have to plan better. You'll have to delay gratification. Cut off distractions. And say no more than you say yes. But if you do, if you stick with it, you will not recognize yourself in 90 days. Not because of how you look or what you've achieved, but because of who you've become. Someone strong, someone clear, someone unstoppable. So draw that line. Today, declare it silently. Not on social media, not for attention, just in your soul, that the next 90 days belong to you, that nothing will pull you off course, that every excuse, every old pattern, every distraction, they all stop here. They all end now. Because this isn't just a season of work. This is a new era. And the person you're about to become, they're already inside you, waiting, ready, hungry. You just have to let them out. And the only way to let them out is to begin right here, right now, today. The moment you begin, everything starts to shift. You feel it. Not in your mind, but in your gut, in your body. A sense of seriousness that wasn't there before. Not because something magical happens, but because you made the decision. And when you really decide, when you fully mean it, your energy changes. You stop looking for distractions. You stop chasing the easy path. You drop the need to explain yourself. You get to work. And that's when the world starts to notice. Not because you announced anything, not because you posted about your journey, but because your presence changes. You speak less. You move different. You make eye contact with life. And people can feel that. They don't even know what's changed, but they can sense that you're not the same, and you're not. Because discipline hardens you. It sharpens you. It builds an edge inside you that cannot be bought, only earned. You wake up and you're not at war with yourself anymore. You know what to do, and you do it. No more debating whether you feel like it. No more negotiating with your comfort zone. No more dipping your toe in. You're all in. You've stopped living life like it's a rehearsal. You've stepped into the arena, and you understand now, this is it. These are the days that define everything. You won't always feel like it. But the next 90 days aren't about feelings. They're about standards. And standards don't fluctuate. They don't take weekends off. They don't bend to emotion. They are fixed, set, steady. And you either rise to them, or you fall short of who you could have been. And here's the truth. Nobody's coming to raise your standards for you. That's your job. Nobody's coming to make you get up early, to put down the phone, to stay consistent. Nobody's going to hold your hand through growth. This is your life, your responsibility, your fire to keep burning. You've been through enough to know how it feels to let yourself down, to talk about change and not follow through, to make the same promises and keep breaking them. But now you're done with that version of yourself. You're done recycling your potential. You're done hoping, wishing, waiting. You've stepped into execution, into intentionality, into ownership. You've decided that for the next 90 days your life is under construction. Not because something's broken, but because something better is being built. A stronger mind, a sharper focus, a higher standard. And that doesn't happen by accident. It takes planning. It takes clarity. You need to know where your time is going, where your energy leaks, what patterns are stealing your momentum. So get serious. Audit your life. Cut what doesn't serve you. Drop what drains you. Protect your time like it's your last asset, because it is. You don't get these 90 days back. They're either used for progress or wasted in delay, and your results won't lie. They'll reflect the hours you honored, the distractions you defeated, the habits you stayed faithful to. This is why most people never break through. They're committed in theory, but not in practice. You've got to practice daily, even when the mood's gone, even when nobody claps, even when you're tired, frustrated, and uncertain, because repetition creates identity. You can't do something once and expect a transformation. Change is earned through consistency, through showing up when it's boring, when it's hard, when it doesn't feel exciting anymore. That's the real test. And you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present, aware, relentless. Because when you string enough of those days together, something shifts. You start building momentum. And momentum is everything. It makes hard things easier. It makes discipline automatic. It makes belief real. Not just an idea in your head, but a deep trust in your ability to follow through. You begin to respect yourself deeply, because respect doesn't come from hype or potential. It comes from evidence, from proof, from the actions you take when nobody else is watching. When it's late and your excuses sound convincing. When quitting would feel so easy. But you don't. You stay in it. And that right there, that's where greatness is born. Not in the spotlight, not in front of a crowd, but in silence, in solitude, in that quiet space where only you know what's really going on, where only you know how much you're pushing, how much you're sacrificing, how much you're building. And that's the only validation you need, your own. Because when you learn to live with that kind of integrity, you don't need motivation. You don't need tricks or hacks. You've built a way of life, and that life starts to give back. The fog in your mind clears. You move faster. You think sharper. You feel lighter. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Because you stopped avoiding resistance and started using it. You stopped running from the hard days and started owning them. And that's when people start calling you lucky, successful, gifted. They won't understand it, but you will. You'll know it came from the work, the boring work, the lonely work, the quiet, unsexy, repetitive work, the kind of work that doesn't look like much on the surface. But underneath, it's building an empire, a foundation so solid, so unshakable, that no storm can take it down. That's what these next 90 days are. They're your foundation. And the best part, you don't need to wait. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to begin, right now, because time isn't waiting. Your goals aren't going to chase you. If you want them, go get them. Not in a year. Not when it's more convenient. Now start messy. Start small. Just start. You start now because the window is open today. Not next week. Not when you feel more confident. Not when you have more time. That's the lie most people live in. This fantasy that tomorrow will be different. But the truth is, tomorrow is shaped by what you do today. Your future is being formed by every decision you make right now. That means you don't need more time. You need more intention, more urgency, more honesty about what you've been putting off and why. And if you're honest, you'll see it clearly. The gap between where you are and where you want to be isn't talent. It isn't opportunity. It isn't luck. It's execution. It's follow-through. It's whether or not you're doing what you know you need to do every single day. Not just when it's easy, but especially when it's not. You can't be someone new without doing something new. You can't keep repeating yesterday and expect a different outcome. And you know this. You've felt the cost of procrastination. You've seen what happens when you don't follow through. The self-doubt, the guilt, that heavy, quiet frustration that builds every time you say, "I'll start soon," and don't. But here's the good news. It doesn't matter how many times you've broken your own promises. It doesn't matter how long you've been stuck. What matters is that you decide today is the turning point. Not in theory, in action. Because once you start acting like the person you want to become, you start becoming them. You think clearer, you plan better, you take control. And when you do that, when you move with discipline, you begin to reclaim your power. You stop living on default. You stop reacting to life. You begin creating it with your habits, with your mindset, with your effort. And little by little, those tiny decisions start adding up. They start rewriting your story. That's what the next 90 days are really about. Rewriting your story. Not through words, through behavior, through commitment, through effort that speaks for itself. The kind of effort that silences every excuse you used to believe. The kind that makes your old self unrecognizable. Not because you suddenly became better, but because you finally stopped negotiating with your limits. And let's be real. Your limits were never real. They were mental, emotional, fabricated by comfort and fear. The moment you stop feeding them, they lose power. And every time you push past them, even just a little, you prove to yourself that you're capable of more. That's how confidence is built. Through evidence, through repetition, through consistent proof that you are exactly who you say you are. So show yourself who that is. Every day. Don't aim for perfect. Aim for progress. Track your days. Stay organized. Stay focused. Eliminate distractions that waste your time and energy. And when life throws you curveballs, because it will, you don't fold. You adapt. You adjust. But you don't quit. You remind yourself, quitting doesn't get you where you want to go. Discipline does. And that's what this journey will teach you if you stay on the path. It will teach you that most of life's answers don't come from thinking more. They come from doing more, from staying in motion, from executing through the fog, from keeping your promises, not because it's easy, but because it's right. You won't get everything right. You'll slip. You'll fall. But if you've made the decision to stay in the fight, you won't stay down. You'll stand back up stronger, smarter, more committed. Because every challenge teaches you something. Every failure sharpens your edge. And every hard day prepares you for something bigger. You don't need the world to believe in you. You need you to believe in you. You need to be the one who shows up when it's hard, who chooses progress when it's easier to stay comfortable, who stays grounded when everything around you is uncertain. And the only way to become that person is to train that person daily, consistently, with intensity, with discipline. That's what these next 90 days are. Your training ground. Your opportunity to build a mind and body that match your dreams. Because it's not enough to want more. You have to become more. And that's the part most people miss. They want a new life, but they're not willing to become a new person. They want transformation, but they keep clinging to old habits, old routines, old excuses. You can't build a new future while dragging your past behind you. It's time to let go. To release the patterns that made you settle. To release the thoughts that made you small. You've outgrown them. And if you don't release them now, they'll cost you the next season of your life. But if you do the work, if you show up with focus and fire for the next 90 days, you'll earn something better than results. You'll earn self-respect. You'll earn clarity. You'll earn a mindset that refuses to fold, no matter what life throws at you. And that's priceless. The more you stay with it, the more you see the change. Not just in your results, but in your presence. You start walking into rooms differently, not louder, not arrogant, just centered, solid, calm. Because now you've built something within yourself, a kind of quiet confidence, not based on hype or external praise, but built from real effort, from showing up when it would have been easier to quit, from outlasting your own resistance. This is what the next 90 days are going to give you: a backbone, a rhythm, a structure, not for a temporary high, but for a lasting identity. You'll see that confidence doesn't come from hoping. It comes from doing, from waking up early and not hitting snooze, from choosing the difficult conversation instead of avoiding it, from putting in the reps when no one's clapping. That's where self-trust is formed. And you'll realize that growth is not this massive leap. It's the daily, disciplined, unglamorous decisions you repeat. The ones that look small, but shift everything. You eat better, not perfectly, but intentionally. You stop spending hours escaping your life through a screen. You get clear on your goals and build your day around them. And those simple things, they compound. Slowly, steadily, but with unstoppable force. You become someone who doesn't need to be pushed anymore. You push yourself. Because now you're not waiting on motivation. You've developed a system. And systems don't care how you feel. They're built to work even when you're tired, even when it's raining, even when the emotions aren't there. That's how you beat inconsistency. Not by wishing to feel inspired every day, but by locking into a process you believe in. This isn't about becoming obsessed with hustle. It's about becoming obsessed with clarity, with being honest about what actually moves you forward, with protecting the hours that matter. Because once you see how much of your time you used to waste, you stop playing games. You stop negotiating with distractions. You stop letting low-value habits steal your potential. And potential is exactly what you're proving in this season. You're no longer waiting for the right mood, or the right sign, or the right alignment. You've chosen to be the one who creates momentum from within. That's where the power lives. Not in motivation videos, not in scrolling for answers, but in execution, in the choice to act, even when your mind tries to convince you to delay. Because your mind will resist growth. It'll offer you 100 reasons to stay comfortable. It'll whisper that it's too late, that you've failed too many times, that your goals are too big, that discipline is too hard. But you don't listen to that voice anymore, because now you know it's lying. You know that every time you act in spite of that voice, it gets quieter, weaker, smaller. And you get stronger. You begin to see challenges differently. You don't fear difficulty. You expect it. You welcome it. Not because you enjoy pain, but because you know that pressure is what shapes the best in you. Pressure forces growth. It strips away excuses. It shows you who you are when things aren't ideal. And once you know that version of yourself, you stop being afraid of struggle. You start respecting struggle because it revealed a part of you that comfort never could, a strength, a focus, a hunger. And now that you've felt that version of you, that focused, disciplined, unshakable version, you can't go back. You won't go back because mediocrity feels disgusting once you've tasted real progress, and you will taste it. Not just in the mirror, not just in your energy, but in how people respond to you, in how opportunities start showing up, in how you start solving problems instead of avoiding them. You become the kind of person who moves things, who gets things done, who follows through, who people can count on. And most importantly, who you can count on. That's the real prize here. You want more from life? First, become someone who honors their word to others. Yes, but more importantly, to yourself. Because when you consistently keep your own promises, your whole world changes. You stop doubting yourself. You stop looking outside for answers. You start trusting your decisions, your instincts, your ability to figure it out. It doesn't mean life will be easy. It means you'll be equipped. And when you're equipped, you stop fearing uncertainty. You stop needing guarantees. You just need a goal and a window of time, because now you know the equation. You know what to do. You don't need new information. You need discipline. And discipline is something you build daily, in the dark, when no one's watching, when no one's cheering, and you still show up. That's who you are now. Someone who shows up for your health, for your craft, for your relationships, for your future. And as you keep stacking those days, you create something rare. Momentum you can't fake, results you can't hide, and a reputation you can't buy. People will notice. They'll ask what you're doing. They'll ask how you changed. And all you'll have to say is this: I committed. I stopped waiting. I got tired of my own excuses. And I started showing up every day. That's it. That's the secret. And it's not out there. It's in you, right now. And when you keep going, something powerful happens. You stop needing permission. You stop asking, can I do this? And you start declaring, this is what I do now. It becomes part of you. Not a phase, not a challenge, not a short-term push, but who you are, who you've decided to be, no matter what. That's the shift that changes everything. You stop making discipline optional. You stop relying on willpower to get through the day, because now it's wired into your identity. You don't need to argue with yourself anymore about whether you're going to do the hard things. You just do them. Not for applause, not for attention, but because that's your standard now. And standards change lives. When you raise your standards, you stop tolerating things that waste your time. You stop settling for average results. You stop hanging around people who drain your energy. Because now you understand that protecting your focus is how you protect your future. You're no longer distracted by things that don't matter. You're too busy building something that does. That's what these 90 days are training you to do, to protect your energy like your life depends on it, to stop bleeding time into meaningless habits, to stop giving your power away to doubt, to fear, to people who don't understand your vision. This is your season to claim it back. And every day you stay locked in, you reclaim more of it. It won't always be exciting. Some days it'll feel like nothing's changing. But if you're putting in the work, it's changing. You're changing, and that's the part most people miss. The process doesn't shout, it whispers. It builds silently, until one day you look back and realize how far you've come. And you didn't even notice, because you were too busy working. That's why you can't afford to keep stopping and starting. You can't keep resetting every time it gets hard. You have to build through the hard. You have to keep the momentum going even when you're tired, even when you don't feel like it. Especially then, because the breakthrough always comes after the resistance. Always. And if you quit too soon, you never find it. You stay stuck in the loop, motivated for a week, then falling back into the same patterns. That's not the life you're here to live. You're here to rise, to prove, not to them, to you that you've got more in you, that the old version of you is done, that the story you've been living can be rewritten, not with talk, but with action. You want peace? Earn it. You want power? Build it. You want change? Become it. That's the formula. No shortcuts, no secrets, just straight truth and the daily decision to do the things that matter. And the beauty of it is you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do everything. You just have to stay consistent. Consistency will carry you further than bursts of motivation ever could. It's not about intensity. It's about persistence. About showing up when it's boring, when it's tough, when it feels pointless. Because the ones who win aren't the most talented. They're the most consistent. And over time, that consistency compounds. It becomes undeniable. You'll feel it in your energy. You'll see it in your habits. You'll hear it in your voice. You'll walk with purpose. You'll think with clarity. And you'll know, deep down, that you earned every inch of progress. That's what makes it powerful. That's what makes it real. No one can take that from you. So if the doubt creeps in, and it will, remember what you're doing this for. You're doing this to build a version of you that doesn't shrink under pressure, that doesn't settle when it gets hard, that doesn't fold just because it's uncomfortable. You're doing this for the freedom that comes from discipline, for the confidence that comes from consistency, for the pride that comes from knowing you gave your best. And it starts right now, not next Monday, not after the next setback, right now, in this moment, with the next decision you make. Because every time you choose discipline over comfort, you build strength. Every time you act in alignment with your future, you take control back. You're not the same anymore. You've decided, you've committed, and now it's about doing the work. Not just once, not just when you feel like it. Every day, for the next 90 days. And after that, you keep going. Because by then, you won't be forcing it anymore. It'll be who you are. Keep showing up. Keep building. Keep becoming. You're no longer chasing motivation. You've become the source of it. You've taken control. Not over everything in the world. Not over what happens to you. But over the one thing that matters most. How you respond. How you show up. How you move forward. Day after day. Without excuse. Without blame. Without waiting. And you know what's beautiful about this path? You don't need to prove it to anyone. You don't need to explain it. People will see it. They'll feel it when they talk to you. In your calm, in your certainty, in your decisions. They'll see the shift. Not in your words, but in your life. Because you don't rise by shouting louder. You rise by working in silence and letting your results speak. And when those results begin to show in your health, in your habits, in your character, the world will know. But by then you won't even care. Because the prize was never their praise. The prize was the person you became. This journey, these 90 days, they're not a countdown to an event. They're an awakening to your strength, your discipline, your capacity to change everything. If you stay with it, if you don't quit when it's hard, if you honor the promises you've made, not just to others, but to yourself, you'll find yourself somewhere new. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You'll wake up with peace. You'll walk with purpose. You'll know who you are, because you didn't wish for it. You worked for it. And from this place, this new level of strength and clarity, you don't just change your life. You inspire others to change theirs. Not by preaching, but by being the example. And that, my friend, is the greatest reward of all. So whatever it takes, wake up early. Stay focused. Do the work. Build the habits. Master the small things. Be patient. Be relentless. Be disciplined. Every single day. Because 90 days of consistency can unlock the life you've been dreaming about. Now is the time. Start today.